This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with your host, Rowena Patton, a show that focuses on the real estate market in terms you can easily understand. Call Rowena now. The number is 240-9962 or 1-800-570-9962. Now here's the English girl in the mountains, the agent that I would trust, Rowena Patton.
Good morning and welcome to this beautiful Saturday morning. I'm in the Carolinas today and we are talking about estate sales. It's estatecpo.com for anybody that wants to see the details on it. Estatecpo.com. Rowena Patton here, All-Star Powerhouse, brokered by EXP. And we have, Randy, remember me telling you we had 300 zip codes covered by agents around the country?
Yeah.
We're now up to 700 zip codes.
Over double.
Yeah, so basically all the major markets in the country, wherever you're listening, we have these programs available to you. Most of them are based around getting an immediate cash offer. So these aren't your grandma's cash offer where people were coming in and buying an ugly house and giving you 60 or 70% or 50% if you weren't too lucky and it needed a lot of work. This is where you get up to 75% upfront cash within 12 days or up to 4 months. And then over time, which the time just depends on how many repairs have to be done for your house, you don't have to upfront the money for any of it. The Cash CPO team come in and take care of everything, and you get to share in the upside. Most sellers are getting 90 to 120% of what we would have listed them at. And there's just no hassle. You don't have to pay for the inspection. You don't have to pay for the appraisal. You don't have to pay to do the repairs. You don't have to pay up front. Obviously, it comes out of the profit at the end. But so many people say to me, Randy, when I'm going to list a house, wow, can we pay for the inspection at, when it closes so we don't have to upfront the money? And the thing is, it's not just the inspection, it's all the items that come up. There's over 40 items on the average inspection report. And so many people say, it'd be really great if the inspector will take the money at the end. Well, we don't know whether your house is going to take a day, a week, a month to sell. It depends where we price it at and, how much you want to dig your heels in and say, I need this much for it. Well, we don't know any of that. So this is a way where you get it all fronted for you. Everything is taken care of. You don't have to do any showings. Can you imagine?
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I haven't done that in years, and I don't want to. I don't like it.
Well, and we're talking about estates today. So, especially with our big boomer population, I speak to so many people in their 60s and 70s and 80s sometimes where I'm going to list their home, or I'm just talking to them on the phone and they're saying, gosh, we can't list it. We've got so much stuff. And I feel, and especially when we meet in person, people say to me, I really feel badly about my kids having to deal with all this stuff. And the kids don't want to deal with the stuff now is the thing. Like, come on down from, New York, baby, and we'll go through all your stuff. And the kids don't want to do that. No. First of all, they don't want to think about you passing.
No.
And, you might be trying to get organized and you think you're doing them a good thing. But for years, you've been telling them, hey, grandma's furniture, this is for you. That's what happens all the time. And the last thing you want is for your kids to be dealing with this when you're not around anymore. I mean, you hear this on financial services programs all the time. Get your things in order. But the great thing about this is that decluttering your home and getting rid of that big house you don't need anymore, or just decluttering it, getting the prep done, like, do the kids really want that stuff? You will feel so much better in your house.
I promise you will.
You've done it, haven't you?
It happened to me through divorces.
Yeah.
And that cleaned out a lot of stuff.
Yes.
It really did.
Yeah.
I don't say that with any kind of bad feelings. I mean, I got what I need and that's it.
Yeah. It's interesting when it's like going on vacation. So, some people take 2 big fat suitcases, but most of us take 1 big fat suitcase for 2 weeks and we don't wear half of it.
Right.
Is that the truth?
That's so true.
So, and that's what our closets are like. They say that we wear 5% of what's in our closet and then we don't wear the rest and we just can't let it go because, that was such a beautiful piece and I wore it to blah, 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 or I wore that on our first date or whatever it was, when you were 20 pounds lighter.
When,
Just saying. So decluttering is all part of this. So we have a program for you called Estate CPO. We can list the home in a traditional way, which means you get all the showings. A third of them drop out. That's just statistical around the country.
Yeah.
Because you haven't done the inspection up front, and especially with an estate sale, especially if you're a little bit older, you might not have the energy or the money to upkeep your home. And you might be looking around going, I upkeep my home. What are you talking about, woman? Or maybe, and can you do that, Randy? Because, okay, you be that you be grumpy old pa saying that.
Well, what are you talking about, woman? That don't need replacing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't quite work with my English accent. And, and you can go in and, maybe your eyesight isn't, I know my eyesight isn't as good as when I was 20. How's yours doing, Randy?
Oh, man. It's really changed in the eye doctor told me it would. And he was so right. It's really changing.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not so funny, really. It feels like you've been on the funny juice sometimes when your eyes are going a little la-la. I had LASIK some years ago, and they told me that I'd need readers after it, and I never needed readers, but I wanted the blessing of getting in a car and driving and not wearing glasses. But now I have to wear readers for everything. They told me that would happen.
Right.
But it's all good.
It's all good.
It's still lasting, and it's probably, 8 years now, so
And
it was well worth it.
All correctable.
Yeah, and I'm a scaredy cat, so if I could do it, you could do it too. And it only takes seconds. Anyway, back to Estate CPO. Maybe you've had LASIK and your eyes are working better now. We go into many of those houses, and there's little plants growing in the gutter.
Good.
Just little plants. And there's little acorns and little stuff sticking out the top.
Oh.
And the problem with that is, especially if any of your gutters are leaking or anything like that, is that now the water's holding, and water's your biggest enemy in a house. And you're finding soffits that need replacing, or a little bit here or a little bit there, something's going on. Maybe the pipe that takes that water away from the home when it comes down the downspout isn't quite attached anymore. That's the worst one, actually, because the water's running right down the basement. If you don't have a basement, right down those foundation walls, it's not a good place for the water to be going.
Not at all.
So the inspection finds all of that before you're under contract. I know that, I'm probably 3,200 transactions, something like that now, houses sold in this area. And so many of them fell apart when we didn't do CPO. Now, of course, we sell many homes that are listed by other agents. That's natural. The buyers come in from New York, from Texas, from Florida, and they go to buy a home, and most agents don't know about certified pre-owned, or they don't encourage their sellers to do the inspection up front. You can do the appraisal and offer the home warranty if you want to, but the core is doing that inspection. And some sellers say, well, doesn't the buyer do that? Yes, they do. And that's all well and good, but the problem is you're behind the 8 ball at that point.
Yep.
Because you're 2 or 3 weeks into your contract, everyone's excited, and now there's an inspection, and everybody's trembling going to bed at night. We need some spooky music, Randy.
Ooh, yeah, because there's 40 items on
Yes.
that list.
And we all know that's going to come up. The buyers are all excited, and now this inspection report hits.
Yeah.
And we've got a very limited time to put it right. At this point, and in many states across the country, now you have to use a licensed contractor. If you'd have fixed it before the inspection, you can do anything you want, again, in most states. So now we have all these issues to come up with. So the buyers either ask for a credit. We're not in last year's real estate market where there were 6 offers and 3 backup offers. It's really flattened out. And in most parts of the country, Anchorage, Alaska is not one of them, apparently. The Dar Walden team is a team that's in the cash CPO program. So I'm in touch with 22 top teams around the country in the biggest markets, and another 180 that are onboarding right now to do this program, because it's just the evolution of real estate. It's the way everything's going. So apparently Anchorage, Alaska is still rocking and rolling.
Great.
None others that I can find anywhere in our markets, at least, all 220 of them, which pretty much covers the country.
But in Anchorage, Alaska, they're still having
Rocking and
multiple
rolling,
offers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fairbanks, Alaska, not so much.
Really?
Yeah, it's all flattened
Just
out.
Anchorage.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
Wonder what's going on in Anchorage.
Let's, yeah.
And they don't know. So, it's kind of interesting. So a lot of people are moving there. So the whole point of this is a state CPO you don't have to do the inspection, but honestly, when it's an estate, it would be foolish not to. We would also highly recommend the appraisal at that point too, because usually you've got more than one person, even if it's a couple, that's handling this. And you've got often the probate officer, if you haven't done a living trust or something like that, you've got to go through probate. So now you've got a probate officer, they're called different things in different places. You've got maybe your siblings, you've got maybe your partner, then you've got your siblings' partners, and everybody has something to say. Anybody that's been through this knows what I'm talking about. And it's not just selling your home. It's, well, Mom wanted me to have the grandfather clock or the chair. You're rolling your eyes, Andrew. Have you been through this, Randy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely have. In fact, I know somebody, it was a group of siblings, and I know somebody that used to put stickers on the items that they wanted. So that that's an actual true story, that the parents have not passed yet, but the stickers are still there, and that's been for 10 years at this point.
That's insane.
Yeah. So now the things can be picked up and the person's name is on the... Yeah, it's kind of creepy, isn't it? Or maybe it's organised. I don't know. No judgment. I mean, it's just interesting how people do things. When you pass, none of us want to pass, but we're all going to, right?
Yep.
When you pass, isn't the last thing you want your family fighting about your stuff and things? So you've got your cars, you've got your investments, you've got your pension, and the biggest one of all of them is very often the house.
Yeah.
And your house then is full of stuff and things that much of which is your kids' stuff and things that's been there forever and a day.
Sentimental things.
Yeah, or your spouse. Maybe you lost your spouse.
Yeah.
And, the stuff and things from your spouse.
Yeah.
In fact, I know somebody that we'd love to hear from you today, by the way, if you've been through this, how you got through it with grace, or how you didn't get through it with grace, or if you know how you maybe you just have a story about knowing somebody else. Don't mention any names, of course. You can call in at 828-240-9962. 828-240-9962. If you've got any questions about how to get through all the probate process, same thing, 828-240-9962. If you're listening around the country, 800-570-9962, and we'll take it off air or on the air, depending where you want to be. Look forward to talking to you. So now you've got all the stuff and things in your house, and you have to figure out how to divvy that up between the kids. Now, if you don't do that, you'll cause actually lifelong fractures sometimes between your kids. And if you think about, most of us know this, it's a procrastination thing, I think. Most of us know a family that has been through this. I know somebody whose father died, and he didn't want anybody, he was estranged from the family, and he didn't want anybody to know when he passed. That was his wishes, and they found out 2 years after he passed.
Wow.
I mean, exactly. So many things go on that cause lifelong fractures. And you, as the parents or parent, can do an awful lot to organize things so that this doesn't happen.
Prevent it, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So certainly make sure that you've got a will, a living trust, a trust. Talk to your CPA about that deals with how these things are divvied up. It just makes sense. If you want us to help you with that, we'll be more than happy to. Through the estatecpo.com, we have a whole directory of attorneys and people that can help you out with this all over the country. So obviously we can pass that on to you and find the best people. If you've got great people that you've worked with, we'd love to hear from you. Let's give them a shout out too, like the great attorney that helped you through the process and it wasn't terribly expensive, or whatever it is you're giving them a shout out on. We'd love to hear from you. Go vote your people up too. it's a really, really difficult time. You've just lost somebody. So the last thing you want to be dealing with it is the complexities of probate and the emotional weight of selling a family home. I mean, it can really be overwhelming. Have you ever had to deal with it, Randy?
Yes, and it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's and it comes at the worst time.
It really does. It's like when you break your leg or you have some kind of severe health problem going on and you have to deal with insurance. Oh, it's so much fun.
Oh.
You're in hospital or you're kind of out of it or you're in pain, and the last thing you want to do is get on the phone with your doctors or your surgeons you never get on the phone with, or certainly your insurance company. And they're going, go and log in over here. Oh, you've forgotten your Oh, you have to do this, and then you have to, and you're half out of it.
Absolutely.
It's the last time you want to deal with that. And now you've lost a parent or a sibling or something like that, or an aunt, or they've just made you the person that's dealing with all of this.
Right.
Which, oh my golly gosh. So at Estate CPO Experts, we specialize in whether it's guiding probate officers or siblings or, anybody else that's a family member that's tasked with being the executor. And it really just ensures a seamless and stress-free estate sale. Can I say stress-free? Not really, because there's always a little bit of stress involved. I mean, after all, you've just lost somebody. This is a lot to go through. And also on top of that, obviously we've got agents who are experts in, well, not obviously, because most real estate agents aren't expert in doing estate sales. It's a very, very different market, if you were. It's not just putting a sign outside and a lockbox on and, doing some marketing. There's a lot more to it than that. So a lot of agents don't want to do it because it's a lot more work. And I understand that. They stay in their lane and do condominiums or luxury homes or whatever it is. So we have estate specialist agents all over the country that really know how to dig into this and make it a lot more seamless. Each one of them can list your home traditionally. That means I think everybody knows what that means. It's a sign out, a lockbox on the door. Or they can do a traditional certified pre-owned listing. That's where you pay for the inspection. You may or may not pay for the appraisal. And then we get to fix the key items because obviously if you've got some flashing around a chimney or the roof's leaking in a place or the stains on the ceiling, you're going to get a lot less for the home. The third option is to do the cash CPO. So the cash CPO is where you get a cash offer within 24 hours. I mean, a cash offer within 24 hours. You get up to 75% immediately, but this isn't your grandma's cash offer because you get the majority of the upside once the CPO team come in, and it's all powered by Zoomcaster. You've heard the CEO on the radio show before. You can see it at realestatenewsradio.com or even listen to it at realestatenewsradio.com. In the podcast, you can hear him talking about all about this program. They go in, maybe they just paint the walls. Maybe they just do a deep clean. Maybe they do a haul off of all the stuff that's in there because you really don't want, you've picked out what you want. And parents who are getting up there in years, just listen to this. Your kids are going to take maybe 5%. Do you think it's that high, Randy?
Maybe 5%.
Yeah.
And leave you to deal with the other 95.
Yes. Well, they're leaving their kids. So if you're getting up there in years, you're leaving. And some of you just go to heck with that. They're getting my investments. They're getting whatever little it is that I've got left, or they're getting the house. They can deal with it. But it's very, very painful for them dealing with that when they've lost you. It's the last thing you want them to do. So should you get into that, and if you're in that already, as if you're the kids, if you're the siblings, we'd love to hear from you wherever you're listening in the country. 240-9962 locally, 800-570-9962 around the country. If you've been through this, I'd love to hear your stories. So that's the great thing about our estate experts all around the country. They know what they're doing with selling estates. However small, estate always makes it sound very grand. But estate could be a 30-year-old mobile home that doesn't have much value at all, and needs a little touch up, to a multi-million-dollar house. They're all estates. So it just sounds very grand. I'm going to walk the estate, darling.
Yes.
But yeah, this is anything from small to big. So any of these estate CPO experts can make you a full market cash offer within 24 hours.
That's amazing.
Isn't it great?
That's amazing.
Now, your house has got to qualify. There are certain qualifiers on there, and it depends where you are in the country. So there are very few qualifiers. And it's not like these other cash programs where, it's ugly houses where they're going to give you 50%, which some of you are happy with, and I get that too. You just get your 50% and nothing else. But why would you do that when you can get a full market cash offer within 24 hours, and then you get the majority of the upside? So the cash CPO team will go in, they'll do a deep clean. They will haul the stuff off if that's necessary. They'll paint the walls if that's necessary. They'll redo the orange carpet if that's necessary. They will paint the cabinets, put new cabinets in, whatever it takes. Some of you have these homes where the home next door, I just did one like this. The home next door is the same as yours. It's maybe an old brick ranch that, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s kind of thing. The one next door sold for $650, and you're thinking yours is worth $450. This is a true story. We did this recently. And the $450 did not have the basement finished. It had old orange carpet, with an investment of $80,000, which, by the way, you as the sellers don't have to spend. We sold it for $650, and the couple made way more than they would have done listing it, going through all the showings, and they got their 75% out immediately and got to move on.
Win.
It's an amazing program. It really is. And everybody's aligned. The people who fund it make more money because they take a percentage of the sale. The agent makes more money because they take a percentage of the sale. Who cares about all of us? It's about the seller. The seller makes more money. Everybody's aligned. Nobody's trying to buy your house cheap because you share in the profit.
Right.
Right? So why would they buy it cheap? They want to sell it for as much as they can in as fast as time as they can. However, you get your money out right away. That's the difference.
Genius.
You can get a cash offer within 24 hours. You get your money within 12 days. If you want to stay in the home, you can stay in it for up to 4 months. It's I don't know why anybody would do real estate any other way, honestly.
Yeah. I see why you're signing up agents all around the country. Yeah. I see why. Yeah, you got a great product here.
Yeah, and it's the top 1% teams that are signing up, and we've tripled the number of we've got 700-800 agents now. These are all the top teams, but they're big teams, and they spread out all over the counties and the states they're in. This isn't your average agent that does 6 deals a year. All these agents are doing 6 deals a month on average. It's very, very different. So let's come back to what on earth happens when you're going through this awful process. You feel like you've been hit by a truck, especially if you've lost a parent and it was sudden. It's like, oh my gosh, where on earth do I start? This has just happened to a friend of mine, actually. So I lost a very dear friend a couple of weeks ago, not a couple of years ago. He's been my friend for, since at least 25 years. Oh dear, it's 35 years. It's a really long time. He had MS, and he was in the hospital in the UK for a couple of weeks, and they let him out, and he suddenly died that night. And this is 2 weeks ago.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's very sad. And he's not being buried for another 10 days because apparently when a sudden death happens like that in England, it's probably the same here. And, he wasn't that old, especially when he'd just been let out of the hospital. They have to do an autopsy. So I'm trying to figure out whether I can get across on August 16th to go to the memorial service. But now his family, nobody expected it. I call him a spring chicken because he's around the same age as me, which I'm definitely not ready to go yet. I think I've got another 20 or 30 years in me. Here's hoping. And now his family are left just picking up everything, where to start. And it's very hard for any of us to think of, and it's the last thing we want to do, like doing wills and all that stuff. But it's a very, very hard place to be left in. most people haven't got a clue about probate unless you're in that world. How would you know?
It's a complicated world. I
My
understand.
gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, so even when there's a will in place, most of these wills go through probate. It takes time. Obviously, that probate officer is talking to a number of different people, and they are trained to have empathy and work with you and help you through it. But at the end of the day, they're dealing with lots and lots and lots of files. So again, if you can make it easier for your kids, having all this straightened out where it doesn't have to all be negotiated, and if it isn't straightened out and you haven't thought about all the issues, your kids are still, you're like, oh, my kids love each other, this will never happen. Yeah, Randy's rolling his eyes again. I mean, tell me about that, Randy. Have you seen this with...
It's just an open invitation for trouble.
Yeah, it is.
It's just an open invitation for trouble.
Is.
Yeah, you need to avoid that if possible. Yeah.
It's the last thing you want for your family. I mean, oh my gosh, if you're watching the latest version of Sex in the City, Mr. Big just died. Oh, I've spoiled it for everybody now. And it's a terrible
alert.
thing because, again, he was relatively young, and he passed, and now poor Carrie's left with picking up all this mess. Sex in the City, new season. So it is a super complicated legal process. You don't have to face it alone. That's why I've dealt with so many estate sales. I'm like, I need to team up with the best teams in the country that know what they're doing with this and offer this as a service to people who are going through it. It doesn't cost you any more. You're just dealing with you're dealing with experts instead of everyday agents who maybe have done none or one estate sale in their life.
Right.
And this, all of our brain power together, all these top teams are the top definitely in the top 2% in their market, which means they're doing a lot more volume. They've done a lot more estate sales. So when you put that brain power together, especially in different areas, we learn so much about this. We've all got directories of the probate officers. We've got, things you can download that show you what to do when you're going through this. There's lots and lots of resources. And you can find all of this at estatecpo.com. We can put you with the expert agent in your area, and they will have all of the resources for you. Not only that, if you're anywhere in the country and you want that full value market cash offer within 24 hours, just reach out at estatecpo.com. The link is on there where you can get that value. And again, it doesn't cost you any more. In fact, you're likely to make 90 to 100%, 120% of what you would make if you listed it, and you're not having to deal with moving out the stuff, doing the repairs, paying for the inspection report, paying for the appraisal. They're going to come in and do all of that for you, and it doesn't cost you any more. It does come off your profit share. Obviously, they're not going to pay for the inspection, and you're going to pay for it when it closes. But remember, you've got a condo, a townhouse, a single family home. I said it the Canadian way, their house. You've got a home now that is going to show so much better. People don't want to see that popcorn or your lime green paint or your orange carpets or the gap in your hardwood floors or your stinky dog carpet. They don't want to see that. They want to see it all freshened up. And especially if it's an estate sale, doesn't that make sense? Your parent may have been ailing for a while and not, maybe wheelchair bound or not being able to move much, and that's not going to upkeep the house, townhouse, condo very well. So when the team comes in and cleans it up, you're likely to get a lot more for it, and it's going to sell much faster, and none of that costs you any more. Everybody's interests are aligned.
Yeah.
Right. So the Zoomcaster is making more money because they take a percentage. The agent's going to make more money because they're taking a percentage and we can list it higher. You're making more money as the seller because we can list it higher. And the buyer's way happier because they're getting a certified pre-owned listing because it's inspected, all the repairs have been taken care of, and no, as the seller or the person that now owns the home in an estate sale, you don't have to do anything. And it's not fun. I think we should take a great break. Let's take a great break, Randy.
Let's do.
And for a second or two, we'll be right back. We're talking about estatecpo.com today. This is Rowena Patton on the Real Estate News Radio on WWNC 570 AM.
From the 570 Weather Center, this is your Weather Channel forecast.
Some sun will begin to break through this afternoon as the high warms up to 89 with winds out of the west. Tonight, a partly cloudy sky with light winds. Some patchy fog may develop late as the low drops to 67. After some initial sunshine to begin Sunday, scattered showers and thunderstorms should pop up into the afternoon hours as the high approaches 85. A little bit warmer on Monday with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sunshine with the high headed up to 89 degrees. I'm Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel.
Hi, this is Rick, and we sold our home with Rowena Patton at All-Star Powerhouse. We didn't really want to move, but needed to for my job. Our first realtor didn't listen, didn't care, didn't try. Not a single showing in 2 months. A friend recommended Rowena. She saw the hard work we'd put into the home, what it meant to us, and what it could mean to someone else. Next thing you know, it's sold. If you need to get your home sold and not just listed, you need to talk with Rowena Patton. Give her a call at 828-333-4483.
Don't let real estate pass you by with All-Star Powerhouse.
Rowena Patton here at All-Star Powerhouse. Sell it now. Don't wait. Call me at 828-333-4483.
Don't let real estate pass you by with All-Star Powerhouse.
This is the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton on News Radio 570 WWNC.
You know, these folks are from where I'm from.
Oh,
You knew that, didn't you?
yes. Good music.
Rowena Patton here at All-Star Powerhouse, brokered by EXP. Today we're talking about estates, what happens. Maybe you're a probate officer or a sibling tasked with selling your parents' home. Maybe you are the parents and you're still around. You're like, oh my gosh, baby, you're saying, honey, we've really got to do something about that will. Honey, who are we going to leave the house to? Honey, who are we going to leave all this stuff to? And, so let's say Randy's my husband. We'll do a little role play here for a minute. I'm going, you know what, Randy? Sally's really going to want my mom's furniture that we've got in the spare bedroom, honey. She's really going to want it, so we need to keep it in the spare bedroom because one day we're not going to be around anymore, and then she's going to have it in her home.
She ain't gonna want that stuff.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be Dad the other way around.
It might be.
So it's they generally don't want your stuff. They might want a few key pieces. But why not have that conversation about the key pieces they want? Oh, we should start a directory, an estate directory of who gets what. I like that.
I do too. I think that would work.
Might get into legal battles or something, but it could be free. I mean, it'd be so easy to set that up and, have their kids' names and addresses in there, and you could upload your will and everything else, and we could guide you through getting organized. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
It really would.
What a great service that would be.
It would take care of so many problems, potential problems.
Yeah. Maybe I'm going to help train the CPO, the estate CPO agents in that, because there's no reason we couldn't do that nationwide and help guide you through it. And we'll have the directories of who you talk to as the parents now. I'd like to do it with the parents first,
Yes.
Because most of us don't know where to start with this stuff, and really we just don't want to face it,
Yeah.
But having the contact details on there for the kids so that we could help the kids out when something happened, oh my gosh. Or the remaining parent, the remaining spouse out when something happened, that would be so great.
Absolutely.
We actually have something, it's almost like, except it's not about when somebody passes. We have something called house facts, where as the house owner, you can put all your paint colours in, where you got that hardware, the new cabinet hardware for the kitchen, where you got that fridge from, all that stuff. And it's very simple just to input it, and then it's such a great thing to give to your buyers. Because everything's in one place.
Here's when the HVAC was replaced. Here's who did it, how much it cost.
And most of us don't remember, or especially paint colours. Then you've got to paint the whole house again.
Right.
Now, maybe you want to, but, it's awfully nice just for a while at least to be able to do touch-up.
Yes.
Or many people have painted their cabinets now. So if you know the colour of the cabinet paint, it's Sherwin-Williams ultra white or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
pure white in satin. Oh my gosh, how much easier is that? And how long does that take you to input, really? This is kind of along the similar lines of that,
Really?
whereby, we can start asking you the right questions that need to be answered, and then just hold them until, one of you contacts us or the kids contact us. That would be really a nice service, I think.
Yes, it would.
Instead of relying on, oh my gosh, we could put out a monthly newsletter where you could log in and update your details and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool, I think. So, we know that we're talking about, in case you just tuned in, I know a lot of you listen in the car, Rowena Patton here, All-Star Powerhouse, estatecpo.com, estate CPO. We're talking about estate sales today, what to do if you're the parents, what to do if you're the remaining spouse, maybe you've lost your spouse, what to do as the kids if you're trying to sell that home. And of course, this happens every day, every single day. In fact, I don't know if you know this out there, but there are list companies who sell what are called probate leads. People pay thousands of dollars for them every month. That is why when you pass, your spouse passes, or they find out your siblings or your parents have passed, you get hit with all these letters and postcards and direct mail and phone calls because they sell those lists. Wouldn't it be great to get out ahead of it and just get it all organized?
Yes.
Because what an awful thing to happen at that time. It is miserable. I've been through it. You get all these phone calls. I'm so sorry to learn about the passing of so-and-so. You're like, oh, well, actually, that happened 5 years ago. It's not, they sell these lists. It's not a position you want to be in. So, let's talk about selling your parents' home. And if you're the parents out there that know your kids will have to sell it too, this is for you as well. And, we understand that selling your parents' home it's not just a financial transaction. It's just this emotional roller coaster filled with memories, filled with sentimental value. Good memories, bad memories, and this team of estate CPO experts are compassionate. They wouldn't be in the program unless they were. They're actually doing a lot more work to get your home sold, right? And they're doing it for no extra money. Whereas the average agent that isn't schooled in this, they might be able to wing it through it. I get that. But these are agents that are fully trained in it. And, and I'm the estate CPO expert here. We've got estate CPO experts like me all over the country. And we approach the whole process with, how do I say it, utmost care and respect for you. Because we've been through it before. We'll listen to your stories. We know the stories. Everybody's stories are different. But we've faced this with people that have gone through it before, so we know better how to help you through it. We honor your family's history. We can even do a memories video. We have a memories video as part of the process too, if you want. We'll walk around the house and share the memories of what happened where. And again, that's all free. And obviously, we'll make sure the home's presented to potential buyers with the love it deserves. It gets that deep clean. Everything's out. It will go to its highest and best use and its highest and best value by using the estate CPO program, where you get that offer in 24 hours. You can access the cash in as short as 12 days to 4 months, however long you want to keep it for. And of course, going through this, you may not realize this piece. You may have not heard the other shows about how this works. They get an appraisal, and it's an unbiased appraisal. It's not from the agent or anything else. It's from the program. You get an appraisal. Again, they're not trying to buy it cheap. It isn't a We Buy Ugly Homes or, a cash sale where you're getting from an agent. Most agents give 60 to 65%, 55% sometimes of the value of your home. They go in and remodel. They get the upside, right? There's nothing wrong with that business. It is capitalism after all. You get to move on. You get 50, 60% of your cash. This is different. You get the majority of the upside. That's the difference in this. So the program will do it for you. You don't have to stump up the money to get it painted, put the carpets in, or anything else. And of course, this doesn't have to be an estate sale. If you're looking to move, if you're looking to sell your house, you owe it to yourself and your family to check out this program. We're not pushy. We're not gonna force you into it. But I think when you hear how it works, you might just opt to do a traditional sale. We do those too all the time. You might opt for a traditional CPO. But I know that many of you will opt for the cash CPO when you understand how it works. An estate sale, a regular sale, whether you're getting a divorce. We just helped a couple who are divorcing. He's still in the house. He wants to stay in the house. He takes care of the kids most of the time. She has left the house and she wants some money. She wants to be able to move on with her life. And we're doing cash CPO. They'll have the money in 12 days.
Wow.
And then they'll come in, there were kids in the house for many years, so the house is a little beaten up by the kids, so we'll go in, freshen it up, freshen all the floors up, do some paint. There's a couple of fans that don't work, we'll switch those out. It won't be difficult to show because now Dad and the kids aren't in the house.
Right.
Imagine how difficult that was. They were refusing showings all the time. And now it's got fresh paint, the fans work. They'll go in and do the inspection. The program will do anything and fund any repairs in there, all in discussion with you. We don't want to spend too much money. We all want it to sell. Everybody's aligned. So in discussion with you, we'll probably do the paint in that one and the fans and any major things that need fixing in the inspection. We'll resell it, and then that couple will get the majority of the money. They'll both get 75% now, so that they can both do a non-contingent offer on a home somewhere else, which is great, right? And then you get a fat check later on. No guarantee. Non-contingent. Yeah, that's absolutely key. So we're talking about estate CPO today, which is a little bit different. And unless, I guess, you could count that if one spouse is still living, because you might want to make maybe you're going into assisted care. We have a program for assisted care as well. So maybe you just want a single level home and you don't want those 4 or 5 bedrooms anymore. Maybe you want to right size into a townhome or a patio home or a condominium with views, with an elevator. Who knows what you want to do. So this allows you, maybe you've lost your spouse and maybe you don't like the memories in the home anymore. It just reminds you every day and you feel like you can't move on and you want to move on into a different home. Now you're giving the kids a blessing of going through all that stuff and things. So that step is already done. You're moving the things that you want because most partners don't love grandma's furniture or whatever it is that, one partner, it's usually the wife, let's be honest, gets her say-so on the stuff and the things in the house. Maybe you've lost your wife and you don't want those stuff and things now. And you've got your stuff and things or, a couple of pieces of hers that you move into your new place. This allows you to get cash out now from your house. Move, get all your stuff and things out so it's not cluttered anymore. It's everything you hear about in how to prepare your home for sale. That's all it is, except you're getting cash and you can go and make an offer on the other house. You can get a mortgage at any age, by the way. And now you've got a big chunk of money to put down. Maybe you can even afford to pay the mortgage off. If you've got a VA mortgage, you can use your certificate for your next VA mortgage now. You can make a non-contingent offer. What does that mean? You don't have a house to sell before you can buy your new one. That is critical. Because of what's happened with real estate here in the last couple of years, most people will not accept a contingent offer. We get them all the time. I don't remember the last one that we accepted. Is that clear, Randy? Because I know you know a little bit more about real estate than the average bear because you're on with me every week.
I've learned so much. I wanted to ask you, in your own real estate, your own real estate agency here, what is the percentage of deals that are CPO deals and regular traditional real estate deals?
Well, my sellers, I get to talk to the sellers. So when I get to sit down and over Zoom, if they don't live here, so, we do a video call on Zoom. If you don't live here, we do it face-to-face if you do live here. By the time we've explained certified pre-owned, and I've been doing this since 2007, that's a long time, the vast majority of our sellers opt to have a certified pre-owned home because it makes sense.
Right.
So they pay for the inspection. Sometimes they pay for the appraisal. They pay for the inspection, and then we all say, oh my gosh, now we've got a home with all these problems. But guess what? You had that anyway. You don't want to find that out when you're under contract.
No.
It's the worst possible time. A third of those buyers walk, usually because of the inspection.
And it's going to come back with about an average of 40 different things.
Yes.
My mom was meticulous about maintaining her home. And I'm so glad she did not see that inspection report, because she would have freaked out over 40 things that were wrong with her home. She would have.
Maybe you could bring that in one day and we'll go through it to show
gosh,
what the average inspection looks like.
Yeah.
I'll dig one out that we've used before, because I keep promising to go through that. And every single one I see, Randy, it's almost all the same things. There's usually a roof issue.
Right.
There's usually, we have one right now that has moss all over the roof. You can literally brush that off. You can get if the roof isn't too old, a pressure cleaning company can help you. Appalachian pressure washing, a great one to use. My friend Heather and Dwayne, great one to use. They can get that moss off for you. Or you can have somebody go up and brush. It just brushes off. But it looks terrible to the buyer coming in. And it's really, a bad thing for the shingles, for obvious reasons. It holds moisture against your roof. A lot of roof issues, usually flashing around a chimney,
Right.
Maybe around skylights. Maybe the roof's just old,
Yeah.
Maybe the soffits are starting to rot because there weren't, drip shades being put on in the right way. All kinds of things, but often it's the roof. Often there isn't a vapor barrier. And I can tell you, in the crawl space, I'm not terribly gifted in all this stuff, but I can tell you I put my own vapor barrier in for about $80 in the house I owned in West Asheville. I would never do it again because I got cobwebs on me and it was a crawl space and it was nasty.
I don't like crawl spaces, and there's usually windows, screens, and latches, and fogged up windows.
Yes.
There's usually window issues, right?
Window issues, sometimes they're fogged up.
Right.
But here's the thing, you don't have to replace anything or fix anything. You
Right.
just notate it. And what we do is when somebody has real interest in a home or they say they're going to put an offer in, we don't let that offer go under contract until the buyer's seen the inspection. We haven't had one person pull out yet or change their offer because they've seen the inspection. Isn't that crazy? But guess what? They're not going to pull out most likely, even if they have their own inspection, because they just don't have a leg to stand on because they've already seen it. Everybody goes in eyes wide open.
Right.
So we say, hey, Mr. Buyer Agent or Mrs. Buyer Agent or Miss Buyer or whatever. Hey, Buyer Agent, I know you've got a client who's very interested. Let me send the inspection over to you. Please make sure they see it. We want to make sure everybody goes in eyes wide open. We all know every home has issues. Here's the issues of this home, and it's notated with the ones we've fixed already. If you have a really bad inspection, you probably want to pay to have a clean inspection. They'll do it at a lower charge, and then you can have a clean inspection because, if it's got foundation issues or something, God forbid. But a lot of them come back with foundation issues or cracks in your crawl space or cracks in the block in the garage.
Or radon detection.
Radon is so common.
Yeah.
And it's not just the mountains, it's all over the country. So it's well worth having that up front. Radon used to scare people a lot more than it does now. Radon is one of those things where you don't necessarily have to have that test up front, that is, because it's about a $1,200, $1,400 fix, and most of the buyers are going to do it. Like they're going to have that inspection because most of the agents are going to, say, hey, you really want to have this to make sure the radon isn't coming back too high. So, but yeah, it's crawl space. It's moisture in your crawl space. You probably haven't looked down there in your stinky crawl space forever and a day. It's basement issues where you see those cracks. There are ways of fixing those, and you can put tape on them to see if they move, and then you can paint the block, or there's different ways of dealing with that. You don't have to just leave it, and it's very inexpensive fixes. Now, of course, if your basement's full of stuff and things and you've got lots of shelves up and everything else, that gets harder and harder. But the point is, guys, it's going to be hard for someone. And do you really want that to be your spouse? Yeah. Or if you don't have a spouse now, your kids? What a terrible situation to be in. That's not fun at all. So, estate sales really require a unique approach to real estate. And the team of estate CPO agents are really, really well schooled in this, and they've successfully handled numerous many of them. Mine is probably 60 to 100 at this point. And once you have that experience, it just gets a lot easier. The cash CPO program will do the staging, will do the marketing, will do the negotiations, will clean it all up, will make it all right for you. And of course, we can help with your probate officers and siblings as well. So whether that's doing Zoom calls or making sure that everybody's copied on the emails, that's always a key one on there, or doing Zoom calls with all of you to inform you every step of the way, because it's a complicated process. But we're used to doing this. The experts are used to doing this. Find your agent at estatecpo.com, estate CPO, like certified pre-owned, estatecpo.com. And, it's a financial security piece too. So if you're the parents, it's different. If you're the kids, the kids are in their 60s and 70s usually at this point. Selling your parents' home is not just about closing a chapter. It's about securing that financial future, your estate, securing that future. And that's what your parents wanted for you. And the estate expert's goal is to maximize that property's value. That's about the cleanup and the staging and everything else, ensuring that the proceeds contribute to the estate's assets. And usually your home is going to be the biggest one. Very often it's going to be the biggest one. So, we want to get you that best possible sale price. Don't forget, you can find your agent anywhere in the country at estatecpo.com, or you can simply just request your full market cash offer. Whether you're an estate or thinking about selling your home in a traditional way, doing a traditional CPO where you pay for the inspection, or doing the full cash CPO, you may as well look at that cash offer. Why not? Then you can request it, just estatecpo.com. All over it, it says request your full market cash offer. Go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter that you're not an estate. If your home needs work, it's not a problem. You get it guided up front through our office. So, your role, if you're the kids doing this, heck, if you're the parents doing this that are still going to be around for a little while, your role in the estate sale is absolutely critical, whether you're the probate officers, the siblings, whether you're the kid, whether you're the parents who are still around, or the spouse that sadly lost your spouse that some of you have been with for 40, 50, 60 years. It's your role in this is crucial. And we're here to support you. We can support you through it every step of the way. Many of us have been through it at least 24 times. And let us, as the CPO experts, take care of all the details, help you navigate the probate, and, handle that sale with professionalism and sensitivity. That's what we're here to do. At the end of the day, your family's legacy matters. Let's honor it together and make this a seamless estate sale. This has been Rowena Patton today, All-Star Powerhouse, brokered by EXP. We've talked about estate sales, estatecpo.com, estatecpo.com for more details. You can give us a call if you like, 828-333-4483, whether you want to find your agent here or anywhere in the country. We're here for you. Go get your cash offer. It's really worth doing. No obligation. At least you'd see what you get. Been great being with you today. I'll see you on the radio next week. 828-333-4483. See you then.
This has been the Plain English Real Estate Show with Rowena Patton. Visit Rowena and post your questions at radioasheville.com or call her at 828-210-1648.